Hello everyone, welcome to Texas Review. Today let's see how a typical single blank text completion question looks alike, and let's also try to solve this question. Now, every text completion question will ask you to fill the blank with a single answer, and that's what text completion means. Now, let's read this question. In 1950s, the country's inhabitants were dash, colon. Most of them knew very little about foreign countries. Now, as discussed, there are three important points everyone should keep in mind when solving a fill in the blank question. One, try to understand the context. Second, try to anticipate what is there in the blank. And next, predict your own word. Now, understanding the context. Let's reread this and let's try to understand the context. So, in some time in 1950s, the country's inhabitants were dash. So, the blank is asking us to find out how the inhabitants of that country were. So how can be the inhabitants of a country? Can be anything. We can fill the blank with any word. But the clue comes from the second part of the question. Now, what is it saying? Colon. Most of them knew very little about foreign countries. So any idea what colon is or what or when the colon is used for? Now, there is a small difference between colon and semicolon and a colon. A colon will always define the things, wherein a semicolon will always distinguish the things. Now, what is defining? We see this in news every day. Score update, colon 52 for 4. What does this mean? This colon is defining what the score is. So, A defines B or B is defined by A. That's the purpose of a colon. Now let's jump back to the question. So this blank is defined by the next part. So what is the next part saying? Most of them knew very little about foreign countries. So they knew very little about the foreign countries. So how do you think they should be? Should they be having thorough knowledge or they shouldn't be having knowledge? So this part is defining. So they knew very little in the sense, obviously they don't know anything about the foreign other countries. Now let's start filling the blank. Now A, partisan. If you look at the prefix party, supporting a single party. So being biased, being opinionated, being one-sided. So you can see that a partisan crowd cheered for the president. So a crowd which is supporting only one party. Now, do you think a person who is supporting only the inhabitants were partisan? No, because they know very little about, doesn't mean that they are biased. So eliminate it. Next, erudite. Erudite is like being clever, scholarly person. So are they clever? No, that's not the clue. Insular. Insular as in insulator. What does insulator does? Exactly opposite of conductor. Conductor allows and insulator blocks. Insular is nothing but isolated. Now let's say like if these people were isolated, will they have thorough knowledge of the outside world? Obviously not. So insular makes sense. Let's retain it. Let's not confirm that. Let's retain it for now. Cosmopolitan cities with diverse knowledge, diverse, no, they are not cosmopolitan. Imperturbable, the best way. Heard of the word turbulence anytime? The flight experienced turbulence, so a disturbance, a turbulent airflow, a streamlined flow and a turbulent flow with a disturbance. So perturbable is like a disturbance. Imperturbable, a person who cannot be disturbed, simply saying a person who is calm and composed. Now, are they calm and composed? Nothing like that. So the only answer choice that makes sense would be insular. So the last step, let's insert it back in the blank and let's read it. In 1950s, the country's inhabitants were insular, means they were isolated. So why isolated? Because they knew very little about the foreign countries. Makes sense. Thank you for watching.